and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your coach, Reynoso, here with my boy,
Soltero. What's up, y'all?
Folks, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Thumbs up this video as we'll be doing coverage of the UEFA Champions League, the entire tournament. We are currently on match day 6, and brother, did we see some results today with, I counted 3 game winners, goals happening after the 80th minute to give their teams 3 points in the race of qualification. What results stood out to you the most out of all 9 games we saw today? Which one stood out the most?
Well, we almost had an equalizer. In Atalanta, bro. Retegui, man. God damn it, bro. They played so well, in my opinion. They deserved a draw. I think just the way the game went. But I think we learned a couple things in this match.
What did we learn?
For sure. For Madrid, it's that they still have world-class players. I mean, they took advantage of Vinicius, Jude Bellingham, and Mbappé fully because they just went off solo completely. And when you look at Atalanta, I think they showed the world that, yes, they did lose this game, but I think they should be taken very seriously, both in Serie A, but especially in the Champions League, man.
I think truly from Atalanta's perspective, unlucky.
Yeah.
Unlucky day today, man. They played great with Mbappé starting this game off, scoring a vintage Mbappé goal. That's the type of goal from Mbappé that I've been looking for, and I'm sure you've been looking for as well, as we see him get a beautiful touch inside and then just smack it into the back of the net. Atalanta then responds right before the half ends with a penalty goal from Charles de Ketelaere, beautifully placed to put it past Courtois. But then that second half, man, I think is where the word unlucky comes in for Atalanta, because it's a simple, just unlucky bounce that hits the Atalanta defender, falls right in stride for Vinny Jr. And that's, I guess, the summary of the game is it was unlucky for Atalanta, but it also showcased the talent and clinical ability that Real Madrid has, with Vinny Jr. scoring just a perfectly placed goal to make it 2-1. And then Jude Bellingham scoring a third one, and another play that I would say was a mistake. From the goalkeeping perspective, as the shot was pretty central, I would have expected him to save it, but there was enough force, there was enough veracity behind it for it to go up 3-1. And for me, the response that we saw from Atalanta just showed how much tenacity they truly have, getting a beautiful second goal from Lookman, but then having an opportunity to tie it 3-3. As you said, showcasing to the world that they are the real deal, man. They need to be taken seriously, because even on a day when luck wasn't truly in their hands, they almost got a point out of this matchup at home.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm not worried about Atalanta at all is when you do look at those 3 goals, they're all individual errors. It's not team errors. So I think what Gasperini can do is put his defenders in better situations to kind of avoid those situations in the future. When you look at the first and third goals, the main thing I learned today, bro, Darun cannot be on ISO against elite offensive players. He can't. The first one, Mbappé with one touch blows past him. And then the third goal, Jude Bellingham gets a one-on-one situation with him, one shimmy, and Darun's done, bro.
It wasn't even the most, like,
it wasn't that good.
It wasn't the craziest shimmy I've seen. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's not Bellingham's forte right there.
Yeah.
And he still created a yard of space, man.
Right. So I think Darun, the thing is, he did the right thing. When you have a back 3, you have to have a defensive midfielder go into that space when the center backs get stretched out. So he did the right thing going into those pockets of space to get into those defensive positions. Problem is, I don't think Darun has the speed to match up with players like Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. As we saw today, he got absolutely cooked, bro. So if I'm Gasperini, I'm not worried about those situations against lesser opponents, but against the Bellinghams, the Viniciuses, and Mbappes of the world, he's got to figure out how to better suit those. Don't put Darun in those situations, Ben. Put someone else. Maybe you have to put Ederson in a more defensive posture against these offensive players, but I'm not worried about it because I think it's very fixable. So Atalanta, at the end of the day, yes, they can see 3 goals, but I think Gasperini can avoid those situations in the future. And then, as you said, man, they got back into this match every single time. Probably should have scored 3 goals in total and to get a draw out of this. So Atalanta, at the end of the day, very happy with this performance despite it being a loss.
Was the Retegui missed opportunity? Was that a sitter? Because, bro, that was a bullet. That was a bullet that Lookman sent into him. It's tough to hit those, bro.
It is.
It really is. But you also look at how close he is to the goal and how open the net was.
Yeah.
You're a striker. That's your job.
Yeah.
At the highest levels. Finish it, please.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Like, I think if it's an offensive winger, I forgive him. I forgive him. But since he is a number 9, his sole job is to put balls into the back of the net, especially when he's in the box. He's got to finish it, man. Yeah. He's got to finish it.
Got to finish it, man. And so Real Madrid gets 3 points here, and I do want to give them a little bit of credit. because despite how Atalanta did play so well, I think Real Madrid did ultimately match them in the sense of stepping up in this game when I think going into this game, outside of El Clásico, probably the highest of stakes going into a Madrid game this season so far. They're in 24th place on the edge of not qualifying potentially if they don't get a result here. Away from home, coming off of really bad performances already in this Champions League. And they come to Italy and they get a massive 3 points to now put themselves in 18th place. And honestly, as we kind of have mentioned for them this entire season, for as shaky as they have been throughout the start of the season, if they can get things right towards when it actually matters the most in those knockout stages, and then I think Real Madrid is obviously a threat for the trophy. So this is a big result that I hope would build momentum for them going into their next few games.
Yeah, and I think it will. They seem to have turned it on, especially Mbappé over these last couple of matches. I think he's still a little bit wasteful. Probably also could have had 2 goals in this match, as they had several chances early on in the first 10-15 minutes. But that one goal that he did get, I think does show some signs that Mbappe's returning to form. But it's just a little bit, man. I need more. I need 3 months of this, 3 months of those types of finishing. But what the hell happened to him, man? He went off injured.
That's on par with what we've seen, though. When things are starting to go right in Mbappe's ways, the football gods say, not yet, bro. Not yet, because I didn't think he looked that bad, bro.
I mean, even when he put his jacket back on, he was just like, all right, he got subbed out for like 10 minutes like in a basketball game. It seemed like he was going to come back on.
I was confused, man.
I didn't get it.
And then they have to bring on a half-healthy Rodrigo into this game. And I get worried because it's another injury concern for Real Madrid, man. If Mbappe's out, then this is even more trouble.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what the injury report is. Maybe he's just like, all right, we're on the road. We have a lead. I have a little niggle. I'm going to just tell my coach, let me rest here. That's what I'm hoping it is, because I think ultimately, Madrid, they're going to need Mbappé down the stretch.
Absolutely.
And if he's injured for a month or two, it's just going to ruin any sort of momentum.
Mbappé becomes the second youngest player to reach 50 goals amassed in the UEFA Champions League, right behind the one and only Lionel Messi. Incredible achievement, scoring a goal today. Let's move on over to more notable results in this tournament with what to me was a crazy game winner in Germany with Bayer Leverkusen defeating Inter Milan 1-0 in a game that was so tight for so long. But then we got a sign of last year's Bayer Leverkusen scoring a late game winner to get a full 3 points here, with Mukiele getting his first goal with Bayer Leverkusen to give them the full 3 points.
And thank God, man, because Leverkusen just dominated every aspect of this match. Inter Milan just took a very defensive posture. They played a 7-0-3 formation, man. And at best, they were just looking for counterattacks. But Inter Milan themselves don't even have those type of players that can really use speed and pace against their opponents. And especially Leverkusen, a very mobile team, especially on the fullbacks too. It just didn't work for Inter Milan this match. Leverkusen just attacked. They had, 60% possession. Inter Milan had 0 shots on target, whereas Leverkusen had 4 or 5. And then it was the center back, Mukiele, man, with a really big opportunity. The ball, it took a while for it to settle, but it was Mukiele, finally, who got on the end of it. And I am boycotting Inter Milan, man. Dude, fuck this team,
I was waiting
bro.
for this, man.
Same.
I was waiting for this.
I've been giving them chance after chance to showcase to me that they're a team that I should definitely be worried about. Now, look, they do have an elite defense. I cannot criticize that, but when you're playing anti-football, I can't support it. I just can't. So I'm so glad that they lost this game. They're going to be able to go deep in this tournament because their defense is very good, but I just hate their style of play. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, this team is really interesting because if you guys remember what we spoke about when it came to Inter Milan last time we did a Champions League roundup was we need to see them play a team that can match their level.
Yeah.
Because so far their schedule was actually in a way a bit favorable for them because all the top for Inter Milan was the fact that they conceded 0 goals going into this game. But you look at who they faced, it's some shaky teams or even the big names like Manchester City, who we've seen so far have a really bad season, or Arsenal playing without their main star Odegaard, I think. It gets interesting for Inter Milan. So this game I was actually looking forward to because although on paper going into this game I thought Inter Milan was a better team so far this season, Leverkusen does have the ability to play up to a very high level, bro, if they lock in. And I'm glad that we finally saw that come through, man, because Leverkusen was the better team. I think they hit the post early on in this game too, and they were constantly on the attack. And for Inter Milan, I think people get a little sway with the numbers so far because I think the numbers beg to differ from what we're saying right now. They're in 4th place with 13 points. This is their first loss so far, 4 wins, 1 draw. draw. 7 goals for, only 1 goal against. Today was the first time they conceded in this whole tournament. But when I look at how they can go deep into this tournament, can they actually be a true contender? I mean, obviously, if Liverpool continues their form, I don't think anybody can really challenge them.
No.
But maybe in that second tier, can they be in that conversation? Potentially. But with results like what I saw today, I'm with you. I hope that they ultimately aren't.
Yeah, and I think a good comparison is they are a more realized Juventus. Juventus very conservative, very defensive, but they're so good at their style of play that they can keep almost any match tight. I think it's conducive for, the tight games like this where Leverkusen's clearly the better team. You keep it tight. Maybe you get a goal off a set piece. I get it. But at the end of the day, as you said, they're getting all these victories against lesser teams, and finally against a team that actually dominated them, they don't get a result. I do think this is the real Inter Milan. This is at best what they can do. Keep matches very tight, but I just think offensively they don't have much to offer.
I wish Italy could kind of like have a congregation, get together and meet with the heads of the teams that are in the Champions League right now. I wish Inter could give Atalanta their defense. And I wish Atalanta could just maintain their offense. Let me borrow Inter's defense for a few games, man. That'd be the perfect Italian team right there.
It'd be perfect.
Because Atalanta has that offensive firepower that gives them that fun, entertaining edge that I don't see so far from Inter Milan. And for Leverkusen, man, this is a good result. Yeah. This is really good because I want to see them build momentum towards the knockout stages, seeing how well they did last year. I think they kind of have been shaky in the Bundesliga specifically, but in the Champions League, they've been great, bro. Second place now with 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 13 points as well. They've been great. They've been really good so far in this tournament. I want to see them continue it.
Yeah, same. And I do think they will. Much like Dortmund last year, they're really showcasing their offensive prowess. Their defense is definitely not as good. It didn't have to really work that hard against this Inter Milan side. So I think at the very least, we're going to get pure entertainment from Leverkusen this run, man. Pure entertainment. They're so fun offensively, and defensively they leave holes, but it's just because they love to play a risky style of football. They're the exact opposite of Inter, bro. The exact opposite. They play a risky offensive style of football. I love what Xabi Alonso's doing. I want more too. I want to see more because they're just so fun to watch.
And sitting right below them right now at this moment in the table is Aston Villa. Aston Villa, who got a massive 3 points in Germany, winning 3-2. This is my other game winner that I highlighted with Ross Barkley scoring an outside-the-box deflected goal that ends up going in against an RB Leipzig side that made it tight but wasn't able to get a point out of this game at home. Villa in the top 3.
I'm going to do a double check here because this still doesn't sound right, and I want to do this live. Yes, Leipzig 0 points.
Really?
0 points.
No, I think we got different tables, bro. That must be their youth team or something.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Bro, 0 points, 34th place.
0. I just can't believe it. It's pathetic at the end of the day when you consider the talent that Leipzig possess, and considering Villa's current form, it just gets worse and worse for Leipzig in this Champions League. So I don't have much to add to Leipzig's demise here. It's shocking. Yeah. It makes me a little sick knowing that they don't have a single point in this whole Champions League campaign. But for Villa, this is like just great news because things have gone sour in the Premier League for them, and I think at best they can try and fight for maybe like a sixth place position. I think at best when all 38 games are done. So I think it'll be tough for them to get another Champions League spot this year. But they might have something brewing. It just specifically with their offensive players, considering that this is ultimately a knockout tournament. When you have players like John Duran who seemingly can score in every game, I do think Villa have something. Yeah. They have something to give. I think this is a good result. Leipzig came back twice in this match, but Villa come out on top with a nice game winner from Ross Barkley. I love it. I like it. I like what I'm seeing from Villa. I don't think they'll go very, very far, but hey, they might be getting an upset or two along the run.
I'll entertain that for sure. But just help me understand. John Duran comes in at the 46th minute, scores at the 52nd. Right. What's going on, bro? This sentence that I just said has been going on for the entire season. Yeah. What's it going to take, man?
I don't know, man. I really don't. And I wonder if in any of the press conferences, is Emery getting questioned here?
I wonder.
Is anyone asking him like, so Duran scores once again in the second half. When is he going to deserve a consistent start? I'm sure Emery would just say Watkins is my guy, and I'm not going to change that. But at a certain point, man, I think if you're a real manager, you figure out how to play your best players, and you figure out how, in a situation with Watkins, you incorporate him in a different way. Because I think from a starting position, it's got to be Duran.
Yeah.
Even though Watkins has been the guy for Villa probably longer, there's got to be a better way to facilitate him into the squad. Because right now, I don't think Watkins is the guy from the start.
And I also want to highlight John McGinn scoring today, which is something that I haven't seen in a while, because I remember last year, Villa's incredible run they went on last year, a player that played a big part in that team's success was John McGinn, bro. He had 9 goals, 7 assists in all competitions.
Damn.
Given the position that he plays, that's really, really good. And just his style of play, too. Like, that's him overachieving in a sense, because this year in 19 games, only a goal and 2 assists. His first goal of the season coming in today, I believe. So I want to see what more John McGinn can give to this team, because I actually do see him as being a bit of a difference maker in that offensive midfield position. And I'm just happy to see it, man. I'm happy to see McGinn get on the score sheet and maybe help Villa maintain a little bit more control in these games, bro, amidst their crazy, inconsistent run that they've been on.
Yeah, I'm happy for McGinn, but I do wonder if like the inclusion of Rodgers specifically this season has kind of seen McGinn take a lesser offensive role. Maybe he just doesn't get into those same clinical positions as often. But either way, for Villa, I agree. I think they just need more physical destroyers in the midfield to really take back control when games just get out of hand, because their defensive line is just too open.
Yeah.
It's just too open against pretty much any team. Villa's going to concede. But I think that's what makes them fun, man, is that it ultimately just ends up being a shootout when it comes to Villa games.
Yeah. And the third game winner that we had today actually happened over in Belgium, as Club Brugge flips the results on Portuguese frauds, man. Sporting CP, who I believe has now lost their second game in a row, with Nielsen scoring an 84th minute game winner to give them the 2-1 victory over this Portuguese side.
I said a month ago, you can't trust Sporting. No. They can't be trusted. And I think that's just come to fruition ultimately. I don't like to see it. I don't want to put that out there. I don't like to see it. I'm just saying I've seen it for the last 10 years.
I will.
But for Bruges, though. Bruges,
dude,
what
what's
a
going on?
Brilliant goal, by the way, to get the game winner. A beautiful layoff into Hans Van Aken. A nice through ball, giving it to the substitute Nielsen, who takes it in stride, takes a little contact from the center back, and slots it home beautifully in front of his home crowd. Bruges get the lead and the win 2-1. And I got to say, from the perspective of a Belgium Pro League fan, you got to be incredibly excited, man. Because for years, you've seen good talent and good teams from Belgium Pro League, specifically in the Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
But specifically in the Champions League, at this high level, they never really do anything with it. The consistency isn't there. They might get 1, maybe 2 upsets in the group stage, but then they lose the other 4 games and don't progress to the next stage of the Champions League. This is the best Belgian Pro League team I've seen. And you know what, it's been 15 years. Maybe there's something else in the mid-2000s or 90s, I'm not sure. But from what I've seen over the last 10 to 12, 13 years, this is the most consistently performing team of a Belgium side that I've seen in the Champions League, and I am loving it, man. And I think if you are a Club Brugge fan or a Belgian Pro League fan specifically, you are incredibly excited at the elite level that this Brugge team is playing at.
I'm thinking, man. I'm trying to think of maybe a good Anderlecht side, Genk.
There's talent.
I can't. Nothing comes to mind though.
No,
in the last
man.
10, at least for me, a team that might have done something worth noting in the Champions League consistently, I can't remember.
No, because there was Saint-Gilloise, but that was Europa League, right?
Yeah.
And then Royal Antwerp had a very good team one year, but in the Champions League, they just couldn't play at the same level that they showcased the year before. That's why I'm so impressed with the way that this Bruges team is playing, because I've watched in the last 3 games because they really caught my eye against that AC Milan game. Dude, they look fantastic, truly. And I think what really sticks out to me is every single player has an insane stamina level. And they run for 90 straight minutes. Most teams have a little give when it comes to the athletic side of the game, but I don't know. The players that they've collected, maybe it's their fitness trainer, they've completely focused on the athletic ability of every player. They're nonstop running, nonstop. It's beautiful to see the commitments there on defensive and offensive sides. And then honestly, like, they've got some really good offensive players, Tjolis, Jutla, and then you still have players like Schovols and Hans Van Aken being able to come off the bench, man. This is a fun team for Belgium, so it's great to see.
Looking at Sporting CP and Club Brugge, both being teams outside of the top 5 leagues, in my opinion, what's the difference then between Club Brugge and Sporting CP? Because right now Sporting's in 12th, and we're ruling them out completely. But Club Brugge is in 14th, and obviously Club Brugge show that they're the better team, right? Yeah. So I actually think table might be lying to us a little bit here.
For sure.
I do see Club Brugge as the superior team when it comes to those two. But what's the difference between, two outside top 5 league teams and Brugge being the one that poses a bigger threat? Is it those things about stamina and mentality and player quality that you think stands out more?
Yes, and I think that was fully shown in this game against Sporting, because even though Sporting were able to keep the game held at 1-1 for a very long time, they showed no signs of trying to stretch Bruges themselves. They showed no signs of trying to change the game. Atalanta changed the game against Madrid, even though they were down 3-1. That's a sign of a very good team. Bruges themselves, even though it was 1-1, probably could have been happy with the point, especially at home, knowing that, all right, let's just get the point. We're going to be fine, considering that there's a lot of teams that can still go to the next stage, but they just kept going, especially in that second half. The amount of dribble penetrations from the outside of Bruges that was the massive difference for me. It was the mentality of just going every single time. So when I see Sporting play, when they win, they win. But when they're caught in a very tight battle, they almost never pull out on top. Yeah. And for me, it's a big mentality difference between Bruges and Sporting CP.
Yeah, looking at the results, Sporting CP obviously has lost 2 Champions League matches in a row, but they've also lost 2 in the league as well. They're on a 4-game losing streak right now. Things have gone bad since you made your statement, brother. Things have gone bad. Bad for Club Brugge, though. What I will say, with everything that you've just mentioned and analyzed, I think their fans believe that.
I do think so too.
Bro, the scenes, once the whistle blew in that Sporting CP game, I saw some emotion in Belgians I've never seen before. I didn't know they were capable of that. I thought they would be a little bit more quiet. I've always seen a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
But they were showing out in terms of emotion, passion, singing in the crowd as they celebrate a massive 3 points here. I think Club Brugge fans are also believing in something special happening here in the Champions League. I want to see it also translate over to the league, because they're 4 points behind Genk right now in second place.
Okay.
Halfway through, I want to see them showcase that as well, because if they're as good as we're talking about them, they need to be able to win the league, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think for them to be leading their league table and then go into a knockout stage game in February, that is going to be special to see. And I think the players themselves will, at that point, start believing in anything, man, because they're incredibly organized. They're going to be really fun to watch.
In a very similar vein of a weaker, quote-unquote, weaker team pulling off incredible results so far in this Champions League tournament, Brest ends up getting a 1-0 result at home against PSV Eindhoven. And at least when it comes to the aspect of their fans believing in what they're seeing and being super excited about what's happening, I saw very similar scenes in France, bro, today. With Brest, the stream that I was watching was actually a French stream.
Oh, dope.
So I got to hear what sounded like local guys commentate Brest welcoming the Dutch. And my God, dude, it's very similar, bro. They're equally as excited. They're just as lost in the idea of potentially doing something special in this tournament. And Brest has actually backed it up in 6 matches, winning 4 games, drawing 1, losing 1, with a big result here against PSV Eindhoven. And I'm looking at their schedule, bro. I think Brest is going to qualify automatically, man.
Ooh, okay.
I really do.
Yeah,
their next 2 games, Shakhtar Donetsk.
Oh, wow.
And then Real Madrid.
Okay.
That's fine. And I think you can actually lose that Real Madrid game as long as you get those 3 points against Shakhtar.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that they could actually qualify automatically. With how highly we're talking about Club Brugge and what they can achieve in the Champions League, things could go wrong in the knockout stages, given that they'll have to play an extra matchup if they don't qualify automatically. Brest, on the other hand, has a special opportunity here to completely skip that and, await an opponent and have the advantage going into the knockout stages. Yeah. Do they have the capabilities of actually doing something? We'll see. Yeah. But for now, the way they're setting things up, I think is super, super notable. And I think the French fans are also feeling that same excitement.
Yeah, and Brest continually impress me with their results. Every week, I seem to doubt them, but when I do see them play, I see a collectiveness that I'm not accustomed to seeing from lower French side teams in the Champions League. Usually, when I see a Ligue 1 team that's not PSG go to the Champions League, they'll play good football, but much like, a classic Portuguese side like Sporting, there's always a moment where they just completely cave. Even though they did lose against Barcelona in the last time out, for a good 40, 50 minutes, Brest were playing it very, very tight, and I was not expecting that, to be completely honest. And in this match against PSV, it was all PSV. It was all PSV for the first 45 minutes. Just attack, attack, attack. But once again, Brest impressed me with their tight defense. They know what they're doing, and they're executing it brilliantly. It's a smash and grab victory here against what was probably a better side in PSV. But here's the thing. PSV didn't finish their chances, man. But Brest did. It was a wacky goal. I think it was a neck/clavicle assist. But it works, man. From Balde, it works. Brest get the goal, and then they hold on.
Yeah.
This is what they're really, really good at. And again, I'm just very surprised that a non-PSG team has a good defense, man. I'm just not used to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm excited at the prospect, at least from a fan perspective, of they're going to be hosting Real Madrid. So it'll be fun to see Real Madrid come into Brest's territory, because that's one thing I love about watching Real Madrid, is that the fans are always the most for Real Madrid, right? Even today in the Atalanta game, like you saw, they were excited. Real Madrid is in their house. I want to see how the Brest fans react to having Real Madrid and hosting them, but then also how the players step up and if they can actually get any sort of points from that match as well. Brest now in 5th place at this moment with 13 points, whereas PSV losing once again, 21st place, 8 points right now for them. Getting scary, because with a game in hand for some teams tomorrow, they could end up being outside the qualification zone.
Yeah, for PSV, I feel like we've said this the last 3 match days. There's a lot of good, but there's just no clinicality to the side, man. And I think it's been like that for PSV the last 2-3 seasons. They play great football. It's very expansive, really good passing. But yeah, they just don't have any finishers. They don't have any true one-on-one attackers that can get you goals. Good football, though, but yeah, it doesn't really lead to anything.
If you want good football, look nowhere else than Liverpool, my friend. Liverpool defeating Girona. Let's go through this one real quick. 1-0 in Girona Stadium over in Spain. Liverpool, honestly, looking like they're in cruise control for this match from my perspective. But I will say it did come with a few scares early on in this match. With I counted 2 really clear opportunities for Girona that they just couldn't put past in the back of the net, man. As Liverpool saw the result out, penalty is drawn. Mo Salah steps up, places it in that left slot. Liverpool sees the game out, 1-0 result.
Yeah, there was a sitter miss from Girona last match week, and they missed another sitter, I think, in this match. They could have taken an early lead against Liverpool, but the finishing just wasn't there. It was not there for Girona. This is hell for them on earth in the Champions League because they create so many opportunities, but they can't do anything with it, bro. I will say, though, and I do wonder if it was, maybe the Liverpool players knowing that this is Girona at the end of the day. But this is probably the worst Liverpool performance I've seen. But I don't want to attach anything to this because I think they knew they're going to somehow win this. Yeah. I really do. And that's full disrespect to Girona, man. Because I think that's what we saw in this match. Yes, Girona had a lot of shots on target and they played great. But I think Liverpool were fine with that. I'm not going to really put anything to this from a Liverpool perspective. I will say that it was shocking to see Alisson have to make so many saves.
And pretty good saves. A lot was asked of him.
He's getting shot at, bro. He's getting shot at.
I think it was 4 or 5 shots that he had to save in this game. Immediately, welcome back to the team, brother. But we're actually going to need you a little bit here. And he stepped up big. But I think Liverpool saw the game at the weekend where Girona welcomed Real Madrid. And it was a very similar format, you could say, where Girona came out firing against Real Madrid in those first 20, 30 minutes. More so have chances in that game. But they kind of knew that if you just await Girona out and you survive that first initial onslaught, then you can basically control the rest of the match, man. Yeah. Liverpool got a little lucky with that missed opportunity in the first half. But afterwards, As you mentioned, I think they had it in control the whole time. So Liverpool gets 3 points here. Girona now in 30th place with only 3 points, which I do think is a little harsh given the effort I've seen from them so far in this tournament. The talent isn't there to get them in the qualification zone. But man, this Girona team, I think, honestly deserved more after the season we saw last year. But then the players that they lost in the offseason just ended up hurting them a lot.
Yeah. What I will say, though, and this is why I love this new Champions League format, is, like you said, we get to see Brest host Real Madrid in a couple match days. We saw Atalanta host Real Madrid. But Girona got to host Liverpool. And if I'm a Girona fan, bro, like, I'd be so excited for this match.
Yeah,
and honestly, Girona gave their fans a great game. Serious. And so, like, that's all I can really say. Very harsh for them on the table, but this is the reality. I don't think they're good enough, realistically, especially when you look at the rest of the teams in the Champions League. But, hey, at least they gave their fans a goddamn show against Liverpool. I would have loved that as a fan.
Yes, sir. Liverpool top of the table, baby. Let's go. We had another big result today with a potential contender, Bayern Munich, defeating Shakhtar Donetsk, flipping the results after going down 1-0 early on. 5-1, crazy result with goals from Musiala, Muller, Michael Olise. I mean, it's just this is a classic Bayern scoreline when it comes to facing a weaker team like Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah, I purposely didn't watch this game just because I'm boycotting Shakhtar games, man. They're just simply not good enough.
Yeah.
In every single game, they are the worst team.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I have nothing else to say.
I will say the Musiala goal was nice. He faked out 2 players, one of them being the goalkeeper, as he just caught the ball basically at the penalty spot. Fake shot, makes 2 players fall, then just a wide open net to shoot into. It was pretty nice skill there. And then Thomas Muller getting a goal in this game puts him at number 7th all time in UCL goal scoring with 55 goals.
Damn.
Yeah, 55 goals for Thomas Muller, the man that keeps on giving. Bayern get 3 points here, bro, to now be in 8th place. Looking over at PSG, let's talk PSG real quick. 3-0 defeating RB Salzburg, the better RB side in this tournament. If you look at points, dude, away from home, PSG get 3 points.
Yeah, also don't have much to say here, man. I think I was just expecting this result. Once that first goal went in, I completely stopped looking at the scoreline. 3-0 makes complete sense to me. For PSG, they just need to showcase this against better sides, but they haven't done so yet. So for PSG, for me, I need to see more against tougher opponents, because when that does happen against a tougher opponent, they do not show up.
And that's why this result was actually really important for them, because kind of like how Real Madrid was on the edge of qualification, 24th place, PSG was worse, man, before this game with only 4 points to their name. They get 3 points here. Now they sit in 24th place right now. But given that some teams have a game in hand yet to play tomorrow, they're going to be outside the qualification zone, dude. So they had to get 3 points here, and they did. That's all the credit I can give. And then the last result just to cover here, let's cover our bases. Let's talk some Scottish football going up against Croatian football. Dinamo Zagreb hosting Celtic, 0-0 draw.
Yeah, and I watched this game actually with a lot of excitement, hoping to see Celtic really continue their momentum, considering they have had a decent Champions League campaign thus far. But this was just a really chippy game. Most of the action was in the midfield. There was no goal mouth action, almost none. I think maybe there was one shot, maybe. All of the action was either in the midfield or down the sides. Honestly, Zagreb didn't play that poorly. If anything, there was a nice ebb and flow where maybe for 20 minutes, Zagreb would have the ball and they would try to attack Celtic, and then it would switch. Celtic would get the ball, have the ball for 20, 25 minutes and try to attack Zagreb. But in both ends, the defenses completely won out in this match. 0-0. I guess you could say good for Celtic considering this was on the road.
I truly think, man, after watching the game, I was watching, I was like, they had to have agreed to get 1 point each in this game before the match started, because the way this went was so goddamn even. Only one true big chance. Let's get a point here, boys. Each team was like, you know what, we're fine with that.
Yeah.
And let's try to see this out and see if we can make it past qualification. Celtic now sits in 19th. Dinamo Zagreb in 23rd, above PSG.
What's interesting about Zagreb too is usually they dominate their league, much like Salzburg. And I think you actually highlighted it last year, saying that I think Hajduk Split maybe could have won the league. This year, there are actually 2 teams right now above Zagreb. So Zagreb's having a low year this year, bro.
I got to see who, dude. That's crazy.
I think it's Split
and Rijeka.
Rijeka, okay, yeah.
Dang. And they're 6 points behind, only 16 games into the season. That's not normal for Dinamo.
No.
That's not normal, bro. Crazy, dude. Crazy results today in the Champions League. Another great day. I mean, honestly, this new format is hitting, dude.
Oh, dude, I love it, man.
And I think it's going to get crazier as Matchday 7 and Matchday 8 come along. But before we get to Matchday 7, we have to see another round of results happening tomorrow, folks. So please check in, subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's matches. And we'll be back tomorrow for coverage over the UEFA Champions League.